Good afternoon, David.
Good afternoon, Naomi.
How are you?
He was just got back from Ottawa last night.
Mm-hmm.
I was there giving Sarah Crowley on some glasses. They're old age. I got to read now. But I was in Ottawa all week working on a treaty and working on also the ELT file that we've been pushing Canada on to see where and when are they going to start negotiations on health for the Métis of the Red River. Mm-hmm. And I also met with Minister Sandgrande, and we had a very good meeting. He's Minister of Visk, of course, and we talked about the treaty, and so that's working very well. It's getting into a place soon to be hitting Parliament, depending on when we want it in Parliament. Mm-hmm. And so I'll talk about that. And then I also met with Senator Pleck, and that meeting went very, very well. And we met with other officials throughout the week I was there. Then I had some business arrangements in Toronto on Thursday night, and I flew back Friday morning. So came back very tired last night, actually. I was just burnt out because it was long days and long hours. And it was, but it's worth it. That's something I look forward to. And, of course, I look forward to settling the treaty and getting that and historically correct our history of what they did to us and getting that to make our people proud and make sure they fit where they fit in Confederation for the future. But let me start off by I want to do some birthdays. I can remove this and go right to business. Happy 27th birthday is going to J.D. Overwater. She's the manager at MMF Communication Department, celebrating her birthday on April 14th. Happy 46th birthday is going to Federal Minister and Red River Métis citizen Dan Zandel, who is celebrating his birthday on Thursday, April 18th. And happy 71st birthday to Norma Allard, Red River Métis citizen of Winnipeg Regional, is celebrating her birthday on Friday, April 19th. So, on other matters, I want to give congratulations going out to Thomas Jr. had their second child with Christina Rivas, baby boy, I believe. And so kudos to you, Thomas Jr. Hope you're listening. And he works actually at the Heritage Center. He's a certified individual that takes care of your heating, your furnaces, and all the rest of those fancy stuff, hard stuff I wouldn't have a clue of how to deal with if something went wrong. So he's certified to do that with the big machineries that are in the building. And also I want to give out prayers out to Tammy McKenzie. She's in hospital. That's my niece. It's my brother's daughter, and she's going through a cancer. And very young lady and several kids. So I'm going to go visit her this afternoon, spend some time with her. And it might, however, be a sad story. It might be that a time where the good Lord is going to come to take her. So I'm going to go spend my time with her this afternoon and visit her and spend as much time as I can for the next little while before she's taken to another world. But prayers always can be answered, and take some rosaries I got from the Vatican. I'm going to take her to her at the hospital, and I wish her mom prayers, of course, Linda, and her family and her brothers, and of course our family to their family. And it's always a sad case. It's like my sister's going through cancer right now, but she's battling it. She's doing okay, I think, and she's got an operation coming up, I believe, but she's battling cancer. There's so many people that you see today that fight cancer, and you never think it would hit your family. And Tammy doesn't smoke, but she got cancer. So, so you look at history. Some people are just, I guess, it's in the genes, and they're susceptible to follow through with other family people that have gotten illnesses such as that. So anybody with cancer out there, that's why the Federation, several years ago, we put up $1 million to support cancer care. Because we know that our citizens suffer, and it's such a mean illness. It's so wicked. It suffers you and hurts you, and it suffers the entire family. And they don't know when it's going to take you, how far it's going to spread, and it's just so hard. So it just, I think stuff like that is just bad for families, and nobody's immune to it. Everybody can get your family tomorrow, get your family next year. So nobody's immune to this thing. And again, that's what we got to do our part to help out and keep on supporting cancer care, and also send our prayers out to those that are suffering and having a hard time. Also want to best wishes to Sarah Paladin. She works at my office, and she had to rush back from Ottawa. Her son got taken to the hospital with pneumonia. So I hope he's doing well. And last I heard that he was getting better in the hospital. So I wish him well, of course, and Sarah and her family well. Also, that another business, this weekend I'll be in DePaul.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going there to an event. One of Gloria's brothers, I'll call him. Actually, he's the first cousin, but they're like brothers. And he works at our federation. He's been there for a long time now with us. And he's well loved by all of our senior citizens. He's in charge of the Wood Project and many other activities he's involved in at the federation. That's, of course, Derek Danielson. That's Ken Danielson's son.
Okay.
And he's gathering a wedding social out in DePaul because he's from Cranberry and his wife is actually from, future wife, is out from South Indian. So they have several kids together. And so they're going to have, just to take some memories back home to their area, and I think they'll get married in Winnipeg. So they do live in Winnipeg, they own a house in Winnipeg, so, and their wedding is going to be this year. So I'll head down there. I'm on this groom's party, and so I'll head out there to give them my support. And if anybody wants to head there, it's actually April 20th at 8 p.m. to the MMF Hall and Gordon Avenue. It's a pre-wedding social to Derek and Candace. So kudos to them, and they both love each other strongly. So I guess the indication of that is they are going to get married. And now they're committed to each other forever.
Yeah.
To the last breath they take. So with that being said, now go back to business. The meetings in Ottawa were very fruitful. They got heated. I got some heated discussions with Minister Patty Ajou, and I was not very pleased on a continued delay on Bill 92 on the transfer of child family services to us from Canada. And, we did have some challenges with the previous government, but we're moving ahead. Actually, the minister was working well with us, and we are heading forth on the passageway of the province, revealing that they will no longer be part of child family. It will be transferred to our government in comparison with the relationship we have with Canada, and Bill 92 was to lead that. So, but that's 2020. We had our application in 2021 now. We're at 2024. So we've been very, I guess, upset that it's taking so long. I know there are only two so far, one in Saskatchewan First Nations, and Peguis forced them into a position to now deal with 92 for Peguis. And they have their Bill 92 under where they have full jurisdiction to create their own laws. And, of course, we want the same, to create our own laws and set our culture as the primary of how we take care of our kids. So this delay and delay and delay has been ongoing for too long, and I had some words to say with the minister, and it turned out, I think at the end, it was heard, and she indicated to our staff that we still got to meet the June deadline, and we want this to proceed ahead in June, and that it now be official and get legislation, that an agreement be signed. Because one of the key things we're looking at in our agreement is that some of the scary things in our histories are a lot of our kids were taken as permanent awards and given to non-Métis families and given away from us. And we also have First Nations under our watch in our agencies and some Inuit children also. So our position, very strong in our government, is that the children stay with their culture, they stay with their families, they stay with the community, and we want to pass laws that make sure that happens, and that our children can never be taken from us ever again and given away to other families. So that's something that will be in our laws. But in order to do that, we got to get that legislation agreement signed and move forward. So at the end, I think it turned out okay. But as I said, for at least 15 minutes, we got a very heated discussion. And at the end, I think the minister fully understands where we're coming from, and that we're not going to sit back and just keep on allowing delay after delay after delay. So my understanding is the discussion took place with our staff and their staff later, and they're looking to meet the June deadline, and that we set in place, because it was supposed to be the year before, and it was supposed to be January, and then all of a sudden it was June. Now we're talking trying to delay June. They said that can't be and won't be, and if not, then we'll do what Peguis did. We'll force into our laws ourselves, and force you to the table. So at the end, I think, as I said, the response I got back from my staff is that the meeting after our meeting with the minister turned out that there's commitment to try to get this still for June and get this signed. So I look forward to that day. That's history in the making for us, and it also will stem well with our treaty, and that's what I met with the minister the next day. Minister Gary
an unsad degree.
Yeah, I know. They keep on teaching me how to say the name, and I keep on forgetting. They got to break it into 3 different names, and you get to.
Right.
It's a very nice guy. He and I had some words too, so on the treaty, and but at the end, it's a priority for the government. They want the Red River Métis Treaty in play, and that's going to move forward, of course. And everybody we're meeting, we met with the Conservatives, we met with the NDP, we're going to meet with the Bloc. We met with Conservative senators, Liberal senators, unaffiliated senators, and so. As I said, I met with Black, and I know Don for a long, long time. And actually, we're going to go golfing in Chartrand. He wants to see our golf course, and his wife, and he loves to golf. And but I've known him for years now, and he's got 2 more years in Senate. He'll be retiring, but he knows the Métis, he knows the Red River Métis, and I know I could count on his support as he's the lead of the Conservative Party in the Senate. And I believe I could trust that I can count on his support, and I hope he's listening. Because he was very proactive with us at the meeting, and he knows us well, and he knows me well. And at the end of the day, he made it very clear that there's not a doubt who we are, and that we're rights-bearing people, and we have definitely a homeland. And our treaty should be put in place as was promised back in 1870. It took 154 years to correct them, but hopefully the right thing will be done. So I look forward to that. And the same thing, I got a call from Naomi Fontaine. I was at the airport. She was following up on a meeting I had with the minister. I think, Naomi, if you're listening, she wanted to make sure that anything the province can do to make Bill 92, child welfare transfer, take place, the province is going to do whatever it can to help out to make sure it becomes reality. So I was very pleased with that discussion I had with Naomi at the airport. And I actually commented on her baking. She was on TikTok. She does a lot of baking.
She's amazing.
Yeah. So anyways, she said, I don't have no more time. I wish I did. And I know it becomes so hard when you become minister, your time is gone. Like me as president, I have no time. My life is the Federation, and that's what I give it to. And that's I'm fortunate my family, my wife, and the others have taken to understand that I have to give my life to the Federation, and all my time is mostly spent there. So fighting for that cause. But again, these meetings are so essential. You'll see me still going back and forth throughout from now to then to keep on educating. There is still, we take for granted as Indigenous people that everybody knows our history. They should by now in this country, and they don't. Truly, they don't. They don't know the difference of all the different First Nations. For example, there's a variety of First Nations, not bands. There's 600-something bands, but there's nations that govern. And the nation of rights come from those nations, and whether it's the Cree Nation, the Sault Nation, the Mohawk Nation, those are nations, and from the band is the infrastructure of Canada's relationship on INAC. But I'm not going to go. That's their area, not mine. But a lot of people don't know all of the differences, even that First Nations have amongst themselves, and the Red River Métis. They think that anybody calls themselves Métis mixed blood, it could be Métis. And, it's going to take a lot more education than that to teach these people, especially in Eastern Canada, that, we're a Western people. We're not Eastern people. That's why we still hold hard positions against Ontario and stating our identity. What's interesting for people listening is that the issue of MNO and the MNC, they can talk all they want. Their arrangement agreement on Bill 53 is in big trouble because at the end of the day, they can't defend those people that are not Métis against the First Nations who clearly have taken some strong position and well-versed positions, well-written positions they've taken in the public attention across Canada. And so I'm very, very proud that we're sponsoring a Denby conference together. That's going to happen here in Manitoba. And we'll have like regional Chief Glenn Hare, Chief Scott McLeod, Chief Larry Duckworth, and others will be attending and speaking. And we'll be, of course, speaking about what it means to see, an entire nation being stolen, not one person, but an entire nation to be stolen from us. So, but it'll lead to other matters that are coming out of court decisions that have come down in Canada. And I think that's going to have a better, from the academic side, we're definitely going to be putting forward a strong position for people to better understand how serious this is. That this is a very serious matter, and if we don't stand up for the next generation, we could have sold down our people, and all of a sudden they become somebody else, not who they truly are, because somebody else defines or creates their own treaties in the future or relationships with them, and defines their culture and changes their culture to somebody else. So again, as I say, it's a very scary thing to see happening in our in our day and age, and a lot of it is to blame with the education system, because the country has never taken strong consideration to understand the cultures of our people. To us, there's always doing the Red River Métis. That's us. It was clearly without clear distinction, clearly who we are. There's not a question. The courts have ratified that. The law has ratified that. And history has proven that. Our battles and our wars have proven that. So our creation of a province and all the things that we've done, there's not a question we exist. And so I doubt there will be any opposition on this. Some people are saying, well, do you think they'll fight the Red River Métis as they did with Bill 53? I said, no, why would they? Why would any First Nation stand up against us on the premise that they know we are? Mm-hmm. And actually that we supported them back in the days that we were the power. In 1869, we were the majority of this province. There was, out of 12,000 people, 10,000 were Métis. And so when you look at history, we were the powerhouse. We were the buffalo hunters and well-equipped with our guns to fight, and we defended the tragedy of what this country was doing to First Nations. Actually, First Nations came to war with us. When Arrow came to fight with us, and of course, his body's been taken back to his own reserve. He was buried beside Riel. So when you look at history, there's a long, long connection between ourselves supporting each other. So I make it very clear. I told the minister I can't see anybody. There might be one oddball come along and say, I don't believe that Métis rights exist. Or I don't believe in the Red River Métis. That's their prerogative. Mm-hmm. But in law, it's proven. In Constitution, it's proven. So it's not an issue for us. I said the reason you have a problem with the other one is they're fakes. They're trying to steal an identity. They're stealing First Nation identity. They're stealing Métis identity, Red River Métis identity. So that's why that issue. And I keep on talking about that because I want our young generations to fully understand what's at stake here, how big this thing is. So, for example, our housing. All of a sudden those people are going to demand that they take our housing funds from us. Our education funds, we give $5,000 to every student now that we never had before. Mm-hmm. It's taken us 100 and something years to get here. And now they're going to say, well, we want some of that too. We're Métis. No, you're not. You're not us. Go fight your own battles. Go get your own history. Go do your own struggles. Go back, suffer like us for 300-400 years, and for First Nations, what has gone for thousands of years. So if you look at history, that's why this conference is going to be so important. It's going to happen. And I look forward, as I said, to be part of that process. And by the way, I had a chance when I was in Ottawa to be given a gift by one of our citizens who lives in Ontario. Mm-hmm. And that's the thing, our people have moved. So just because they're Métis citizens of Red River living in Ontario, in Ottawa, or Toronto, doesn't mean that community or those people living in a village over there make a community and make it them as Métis. They're just trying to steal the identity. So I was very pleased to see one of our patriots, Liam Kellison, I probably butchered his name a little bit, but he wrote a book called Lithium Fire. And he talks about the history of our North End, Winnipeg, and because he grew up in Winnipeg and moved to Ontario and lives out there now, is retiring out there. But we never knew each other, but he knew who I was personally. He's one of our Beyond Border citizens, and he wanted to meet me while I was in Ottawa. He reached out, mm-hmm. and he drove to Ottawa. It's about an hour something drive from his place, and he wanted to sit down and have a meeting with me. He wanted me to give me the book, and he wanted to say, if you'll remember some of the stories in here that happened in Winnipeg. And so, as we talk a little bit more, I got to realize we worked for the same family, the Corn family. Oh, really? We worked at the Royal Albert Arms, at the Royal Albert Hotel, which was run by Danny, the son of Frank's other brother. Walter was the dad, and I worked for Walter, and at the Manor Hotel. And we never knew each other, mm-hmm. But history after talking, we were working for the same family. I was a bouncer in Winnipeg. I started off at the Manor as a bouncer, and then moved on the way, became manager several years later. And he actually started off as a temporary bouncer himself at the Royal Albert Arms. So it was quite interesting. We chuckled about that and laughed about it. But he's so proud of what our Métis government's doing in Manitoba. And so he wanted the person to give me the book that he wrote.
What's it called again? Sorry.
It's called Lithium Fire. Lithium Fire. So some of it's made up. He said it's a little fictitious, but a lot of it is real. He said you'll be able to connect with some of that. I changed the characters' names, he said, but you'll be able to connect with the story. So I'm very proud of that. But to see our citizens out there really proud of their own government out here, it just makes me proud of the work we're doing, our cabinet's work we're doing. And like if you look at our website, every day you'll see our people out there doing something. Our ministers are out there on weekends. Richard, for example, minister, he's out here today in Winnipeg. He just popped by my house. But next weekend he's out in Brandon. They have a conference and environment with the youth, and that's a very fundamental key issue right now is environment. Forest fires are starting. There's some fires already. Buggy works in which is Derek's brother, and he works with natural resources, and already some small fires are starting to flicker into the forest. So hope we don't have big disasters like First Nations suffered greatly the last several years because the environment is completely different, and forest fires can take off and force the evacuation in entire reserves. So it's scary, and also Métis villages. And floods come with that. We don't know what's going to happen this year. They talk about drought. But forest fires is something we need to be very careful of and watch carefully on what will happen this year because it's taking people's lives and it's saying destroy entire villages and communities. So again, those issues of environment, as I said earlier, I'm very pleased that youth are having a conference on this because I want to push that agenda very strongly to our youth that they need to help us on this fight. And this whole propaganda right now on cut the carbon tax, cut that. It doesn't. There's no logic behind that thinking. If you ask me, I love that debate with somebody, with anybody, including the Conservatives or anybody who's opposed on the issue of environment. Because if we don't start protecting Mother Earth, we're in big trouble. And we're old. I'm old. I don't know about you, Naomi, but I'm old, and it won't affect me as much because my life in this world is not much longer. So, but the young generation, the one yet to be born, if we don't start protecting our waters and our land, look at our water today. You can't take a cup of water somewhere and go drink it in any lake you want because it's not, people are saying, there's the water has many different E. coli or bacteria or different issues that you got to be concerned about. So you start thinking about the days when you used to just take your cup in any lake, and now you can't. Lake Winnipeg is so covered up with algae and the rest of it, and so, we need to do something quickly because we're going to leave a hell of a mess for the next generation and definitely an impact. And if the sun gets any more closer to its impact and the greenhouse is no longer there to protect us, then the sun is going to come with a much harsher reality to our world. And you worry about a little fire today or just a few houses or communities being abandoned, you're going to be seeing an entire cities being abandoned. So we need to look at this seriously. So this carbon stuff they're fighting right now, we need to take that seriously because I believe that's the only plan we have right now. Show me a different plan. Show me a better plan. Right now, by pricing carbon against the big industry, making the oil companies pay because they're making absorbent. If you look at, all you have to do is go into Google, punch in what was the profits made on Esso or Shell. I'm talking billions upon billions and billions of dollars. And so when people say, well, it's the federal government's fault because of this carbon tax, that's not true. The companies are making billions on what's going on right now. Look at Loblaws. Look at all these big industries. They're making billions. You look at their numbers in the Google. Check their numbers, what their profit margins are. They're taking advantage of an opportunity after COVID, and they're really starting to price their product because the Conservatives are complaining about carbon tax. And people think, oh, okay, it's the 3 cents that the tax carbon pricing is forcing us to pay extra on our gasoline. That's what's causing this. That's not what's causing it. 3 cents. So it's what these guys are charging. Like gas jumps up 30 cents, 10 cents, 20 cents at a time. It doesn't jump 3 cents. So when you look at, they had one for butter, I believe, it jumped up by 54% quietly in the back rooms, and then they blame the carbon tax, which is not the carbon tax. It's greedy big industries that are taking advantage of the people of this country and forcing us to pay the high price of food, and then blaming carbon tax for food banks. But look at, it's the businesses that are charging so much money. So when you look at all this stuff, I get briefed on all this stuff. I read a lot and try to prepare myself for, how I descend, that we need to fight the environment and quit trying to use this as a political tool to advantage yourself and not worry about the consequences of our country or Mother Earth, what's going to happen to it. So, again, you see how I get really passionate about this because
just a little.
Because it's so wrong. It's so wrong to be lying to the people and to blame the carbon pricing. It's carbon tax we use it to make it negative, but it's not that's causing what's happening in the price of food or the price of gasoline. It's the big industries that are taking advantage of this, and yet it's working. People are saying, okay, it is that. It's not that. You know, people are buying into what's written there in the media, what the opposition's saying in their messages. They're buying into that crap, and they're believing it. There's some analysis that has been done on by 3 cents more in the price of gasoline. It does not change a price of food coming from Vancouver this way, because by semi-load, you'd break that down per product, per package in a box. It's like nothing, not even a penny. It's like 0.1 cent or something. So anyway, so that's what I mean. It's all smoke and mirrors, but what they're playing with is the damage this world will get if we don't start protecting it. And that's what worries me. That's what pisses me off. Mm-hmm. You know, don't start playing politics with our generations to come and our young generations that are living today. We need to protect the waters. We need to protect the forests. We need to protect the lands. And in order to do that, we need to fight carbon reduction that's happening that could save us and save the next generation. If we don't have a plan, we're in big trouble, and we have really damaged the next generation. So, and I don't want my granddaughter to be suffering when I'm gone because I didn't do my part to fight and to protect the land in our homeland in the context of how it could be affected by the environment, so or the sun or the water and all the rest of it, because I didn't do my part to fight because somebody convinced me just to stay quiet. I'm not going to stay quiet. I'm going to fight. And they want to punish me after for this. Whether a different party wins the election, say, well, you were supporting the Liberals. Whether it's the Liberals, the NDP, the Conservatives, they all have a plan, a really good plan. I'll support them. I don't care about a party. I'm talking about the world and the land and the future of our people to make sure that they will live and they're not going to burn if there's no more protection for the sun to come, its radiation right through. So anyways, I go on and on in our cabinet. This is the type of discussions we have in our cabinet, and because these are such crucial issues that affect the next generation. But we do have a delegation I'm going to speak on right quickly, say goodbye. I believe it's the anniversary of the Battle of Vimy Ridge, and so that's going to take place April 9th, 1917 is where our soldiers were fighting on Easter Monday, fighting tirelessly in blustering snow against heavily armed enemy forces. This is one of the most brutal battles that happened in Vimy Ridge. Nearly 33,600 Canadian soldiers made the ultimate sacrifice and died, and many were Métis in that group. And they went out there to fight, and they fought valiantly, and we end up winning. But there was a lot of consequences. A lot of young men and Métis men died out there, and were never brought home and buried, killed in foreign soil. So we have a delegation going out there led by our Minister Sean Nolt, and he'll be moving forward on that with other veterans. We have veterans on our table. Andrew Carrier, who was in the Navy. John Fleury was in the military. Jack Park was in air parachute group. He was there. So you look around my table, I'm very proud of our people in the sit-around cabinet. These were people that put their names in to join and became part of the militaries of different forms and sit around the cabinet today giving us guidance. So I know some of them will be there representing. I'm not going to be going this term. I'm sending somebody else. The minister will go on my behalf, and the rest of others. There's a group of 45 going. So I look forward to them representing us in Juno Beach, where the ceremonies will take place. They'll go visit Vimy Ridge, and I'm sure a lot of them. We're sending a youth delegation, by the way, Naomi. Youth will also be attending. I think there's about 10 youth going. I know. Because we want them to feel it, and because you can't feel it by just hearing my story here or reading a book. When you're there personally, when you see it firsthand, you see all the graves and graves and graves, and you see all the people that are named on those headstones. But one of the things I know they'll come back with, being proud how clean, how beautiful those graveyards are. It's like I told my family last weekend on a duck day, I got some ducks in geese. We've got 3 ducks here. I'm going to cook eventually, make some bannock, and cook some soup, this maybe tomorrow. But when you look at going back to Duck Bay, I was driving through there, and I looked at night. I got in the 115, I think, that evening before the confirmation took place at the church for this. I think there's 14 kids that got confirmed with the Catholic Church, with the Archbishop there. And I was there to represent and support at the same time. And I drove by Duck Bay's graveyard. The lights were just shining, and it was so beautiful. I'm so proud of those families that keep those graves so beautiful. And that's how these kids will feel when they go there to see how good the country takes care of our loved ones that are buried overseas. And they'll come back and tell the story to their family and to their friends, and the story will live on to remember that many people sacrificed for the freedom we enjoy today. So, again, to our elders, thank you for everything, and to you, keep up fighting. I always know your government has your back, and we need to make sure you have our back, and we'll fight to defend you. So keep up the good work, Naomi, and Carl, thank you for finding me. And out there, I have Richard waiting for me, and I'm going to go visit my niece this afternoon. My wife's listening. My mother-in-law is in town right now, and she's here for dentist appointments, and then she's very happy to be visiting with her grandkids here while she's in the city. So I'll talk to you guys next Saturday, and take care, everybody.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.